Sharpening your knife is an incredibly important first step, and always do it before you start cooking. Actually, this is called honing. I'm just basically kind of realigning the blade. I do sharpen it once every few weeks, whenever it starts to get blunt. Always do this though, because you really need it to be able to cut onions easily. Because onions are awful. I hate them. I use them in basically everything I eat, because onions are amazing, but they're just terrible. Onions are really tricky. You want to do something called a sideways or horizontal cut first, right down the middle. If it's like a super big one though, you can like make 2 cuts. And then lots of little small vertical cuts, and then turn it around and then just kind of chop it up. You can do it really, really quick. Here's a little fun fact. Onions make you cry because as you break their cell walls, the sulfur within them reacts with the oxygen, or rather the air around it, forming sulfur oxide, and that compound burns and stings your eyes. And you want to cut your onions before anything else, because you're an idiot, and you probably should have cut your onions afterwards, because it makes more sense to cut onions later. Don't do what I do. Cut everything else, get your mise en place ready, and then cut onions last, so you don't have to cry for ages. Then you gotta cut your ginger and garlic. It's really easy, just crush it under your knife, peel the skin, and cut off the root end if you want to avoid a little bit of bitterness. With the ginger, you just peel it and cut it up and chop it up into a big old pile. The garlic and the ginger will make a kind of mushy paste after a little while, so don't take it too far, but do make it nice and chopped. Mangoes are wonderful, but I hate them almost as much as I hate cutting onions. Like, I still have no idea how to cut a mango. If anyone knows, please do let me know in the comments, because this was awful. You'll just see me struggle like crazy. The problem also is that I kept it in the fridge. Because we had it in the fridge, what happened is that it was hard, and it hadn't really had a chance to ripen and to make softer, so the skin was super tough. Like, I just had to slice it all up and basically manually cut the skins off. If you do have this though, it doesn't really matter because the flesh of the mango will soften as it cooks. You just really do not want the peel. Here are all of my wonderful spices. This is basically me making up a curry spice. I've made dozens or hundreds of curries in my life. And you can generally assume that most of them, the kind of style that I'm going for, is going to contain garam masala and turmeric, and then a few other things. So this is kind of a semi-tikka masala curry mix. I think it would just go well with chickpeas. It is 3 tablespoons of garam masala, 2 tablespoons of turmeric, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. This is really important for a little bit of spice. 1/2 teaspoon each of sweet smoked paprika and regular paprika. I use differences because I want a little bit of smokiness from the sweet smoked, but I also want a little bit of that heat from the paprika. 4 cardamom pods. To make these, you basically crack them in a mortar and pestle, and then take out the seeds, or rather remove the seeds, and then throw away the coverings or whatever, and just chuck them away, they're useless. And then grind the seeds into a powder and mix that into your blend. And your ground cumin. Like a teaspoon of black pepper. Don't be precise. Everyone's always like, oh, 1.5 teaspoons of freshly ground black pepper. Like, no one's measuring this. No one pre-grinds their black pepper and keeps it in a bowl. It's not freshly ground. And don't get on me with all that, oh, I'll just buy it in a bag. No. Grind it yourself fresh and eyeball it. It's fine. You don't need that much black pepper in most things unless you're trying to make a black pepper flavor like with jerky or something. So just, grind it until it looks right. Add your salt just after your black pepper. About a tablespoon, but it's all up to taste. With the actual cooking, I decided I was going to use coconut oil. You gotta let it kind of melt. You don't have to use coconut oil, you could use any fat you want, but coconut oil adds a nice clean flavor, and if you use quite a lot of it, it can taste a little coconutty, which I actually was going for, as you'll see. The first thing to cook is the onions, and you should leave them for about 4 to 7 minutes until they start to turn glassy. There's gonna be a lot of smoke coming out as the water moves away, or rather evaporates out, and as that happens, the cell walls degrade, you get a little bit of browning, and the onions just get sweet, and they get delicious. You don't want to caramelize them, and you don't want to brown them, you're just taking them like, 4 to 7 minutes until they're nice and glassy and a little brown. Add your garlic and ginger, and you just want to cook this for like 45 to 60 seconds, no more, just until you start to really smell the garlic and ginger. You want to avoid overcooking it because it's still going to cook when you add the spices. You're going to toast the spices for 30 seconds to a minute. The temperature will drop, which will stop the garlic and ginger burning because you've added something cold, but quickly it will heat up and you do want to avoid burning it. A lot of those spices burn really fast. To help stop that, you add a big thing of tomato paste. This is really important. It's delicious and it adds a really nice concentrated flavor of tomato, but also you add it now because it gets a chance to caramelize. Once the tomato paste has started to caramelize after 1 to 3 minutes, just stop it when it starts to maybe look like it's burning. You add your tomatoes. To make sure you don't waste anything, rinse out the tins with some stock. just rinse it out, and then that allows you to get the last bit of tomato, and then you can recycle the cans and help save the earth. You could use plum tomatoes, you could use chopped tomatoes. Chopped tomatoes is really good if you're looking for like a bite of tomato, but the thing is that I actually blended this. We actually blended this with an immersion blender, as you'll see, so it didn't actually matter what kind of tomatoes I added, so I just used plum tomatoes. Once it's in there, you can add some coconut milk, and here's something so important. Never ever buy reduced fat coconut milk. It's a scam. Look at the ingredients. There is no such thing as reduced fat coconut milk. You can't skim fat from coconut milk like you can with regular milk. It's not like cream and milk like it rises. It just doesn't work that way. It's coconut milk. What it is they just dilute it. Reduced fat coconut milk is about 28 to 35%, right? That's all it is. The rest of it's water. Real coconut milk is like 60%. All they're doing is giving you less product for more money. Just buy normal, okay? Add more water if you want. Okay, ran over. Blend it in immersion blender, really easy. A stick blender like this is so convenient. You just gotta kind of lift it up and put it down, lift it up and put it down and move it around to blend it all right. It's very convenient. It really does work really well. It's just that if you feel like you're breaking your pot, but you're not. And don't forget to add your curry leaves. Add some more salt to taste. This is up to you. You just need to decide like at what point there's too much salt. You don't want it to taste overwhelmingly salty. You're probably going to serve it with salty rice, remember that. And then also add your chickpeas. These should be completely drained chickpeas, either from a can, drained chickpeas, or they should be dried, ideally dried chickpeas that you soaked overnight and then cooked for half an hour to an hour and a half until they're just soft. And they can finish cooking in the sauce. Leave them to cook for 30 minutes to an hour. Next up, add the chopped up mango. Just add it right into the pot and stir it gently, and then leave it to heat for, like 30 more minutes, and just make sure it's all nice and cooked and soft, but not collapsing. Once you're all done, just make sure it's completely cooked, and then serve it either with some homemade rice or homemade naan bread. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.